Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. A very warm welcome from London in the UK. Here's today's news about electric cars and the future of transport. My name is Martin Lee, and this is your EV News Daily for Friday, the 23rd of February, 2018. On the podcast today, we'll talk about the island that Renault are taking over for an experiment with electricity, and how Williams' F1 team could be making the next EV that you buy. But first of all, as Steppenwolf wrote in 1969, get your motor running, head out on the highway. And if you ride a Harley Davidson, maybe you were born to be wild, but from next year you might be heading out on electrons instead, because the first e-motorcycle from Harley is coming, looks like in 2019. Now they're spending between 25 and 50 million US dollars on e-bike development, but according to their recent earnings call, they weren't ready just now to share any more details. However, we have seen their LiveWire concept. The specs back then a couple of years ago weren't spectacular. Harley Davidson predicting 50-mile range and 93-mile-an-hour top speed. Now, for any Harley rider, that is simply not good enough. Big jumps in technology have happened, certainly in EV car world since 2014, but there are surprisingly few bike makers. The really big bike makers in the world don't seem to be moving as forward with electric vehicles as quick as the car manufacturers. New registrations of motorbikes in the US have been pretty much flat since 2008. For the last 10 years, the age of bike owners has just been getting older and older. So Harley are hoping with the move to electrification, you'd hope that would come with some top performance as well. A Harley EV bike, an e-bike, might inspire a new generation of riders. Well, next, how do you fancy a trip to a sunshine island, which Renault is using as a proving ground for renewables and EVs? It's called Porto Santo, and it's just off Madeira. And it's where Renault have been allowed to install the perfect trifecta of climate-friendly energy and transport. We're talking renewables, feeding into used EV batteries, which then feed electric vehicles. Now, this isn't exactly desert island territory. There are over 5,000 residents, but this is a good thing because they will find themselves in the same situation as many other small islands, having to import dirty fuels for electricity. Like the island in American Samoa you might have read about a couple of years ago. When Tesla completed their purchase of Solar City, they wired up the entire island with power packs to help reduce the diesel shipments that they were reliant on arriving for their generators to keep the lights on. Well, Porto Santo will get 14 Renault Zoes and 6 Kangoo vans. They're going to get 40 charge points. They're going to get vehicle-to-grid technology. They're going to get second life battery packs for cloudy and non-windy days. And they're going to be a proving ground to see, well, if we can do this for 5,000 residents on an island, maybe we can expand it as well. Well, 'tis the season to unveil Formula One cars. If you, like me, enjoy a bit of Formula One, then all the big manufacturers, all the big teams are unveiling their cars last week and this week and next with their V6 hybrid engines. One of the racers, Williams, one of the oldest teams as well, run by Frank Williams, is unveiling a lot more than an F1 car at the moment, though. Williams Advanced Engineering have a new lightweight EV platform, which is basically a skateboard design of batteries with 4 wheels on either corner and some really advanced suspension and a new crash structure as well. It includes many innovations in battery design and particularly cooling. That's going to need to be advanced if we want to increase the charge rate that we put into batteries and in turn bring down rapid charging times. They're going to make it available to anybody that wants to build on top of it and build their own electric vehicles without having to do all of the groundwork and development and investment in starting from scratch. Well, let me introduce you to another Frankenstein project, the Teslonda project. We've seen this happen in a couple of places. The most famous is probably Quest in the UK, who made an estate or shooting brake or whatever one name you like to give to the car with the big boot by cutting off the rear end and the top of a Tesla and bonding on some carbon fibre. This was a lesson in design and engineering. This thing is gorgeous, and they confirmed this week that they're going to make some more. We'll cover that in tomorrow's podcast. However, this next project, yeah, not so much. It's a 1980s Honda Accord, which has a Tesla drivetrain bolted inside, and because of that, the rear wheels are a lot wider than the original Accord body, and the front suspension's been jacked up as well. Fair to say, this isn't exactly a looker, but boy does it go. It's made for drag racing, and Jimmy, the man responsible, on his YouTube channel says 2.5 seconds 0 to 60 is achievable. The mashup, if you like, gets even worse because it's a Honda Accord with a Tesla drivetrain which was from salvage, and it's built with Chevy Volt battery packs. Well, moving on to Volvo, and Volvo, according to autonews.com, are going to accelerate their promised shift towards EVs with a choice of new plug-in hybrid powertrains. The new Volvo V60 is going to be on the market very soon. Of course, they promised that a form of electrification will be on every new model starting in 2019. They were one of the first major manufacturers to make that promise. Well, this new one comes with, in Europe, a couple of different engines. The T6 engine, which will give you 336 brake horsepower with the electric motor as well, and the T8 twin-engine plug-in hybrid for 386 horsepower. US customers only getting the larger engine. Both of those are going to be all-wheel drive. Now, the V60's European engine portfolio will include some gas engines, but also diesel engines as well, which is a curious decision in the week that Porsche, for instance, said, we're not going to make diesels anymore. Nobody wants them. We can't sell them anymore. So we'll see if Volvo sell many of these diesel plug-in hybrids. In January, at least this year, the market share for diesel hybrids was so tiny here in the UK. Going up against the likes of the A4, the Merc C-Class, the BMW 3 Series, that kind of size car. Very popular car, very popular segment in certainly here in Europe as well. Good luck to Volvo. Next, we're talking about battery prices, and according to Bloomberg.com, $100 per kilowatt hour is still the magic figure to get down to. They're predicting 2025 will get there from around $200 per kilowatt hour at the moment. Large cars and SUVs, they say, are going to be the first to reach price parity with internal combustion engines. Smaller cars and city cars are going to need something more like $80 per kilowatt hour to be price comparative. I think that might happen quicker than 2025. We are talking 7 years away, and the pace of EV development is so fast at the moment. And finally, what's the furthest you've driven an EV? And if you haven't got one but you're thinking of getting one, what's the furthest you want to travel? Well, how about a couple of explorers from Poland that are going to do the first ever electric vehicle expedition across Africa? It's just begun using the first-gen Nissan Leaf. They say this: travelling across Africa is the hardest test for any vehicle, not only an EV. Poor roads, limited charging infrastructure, and dramatically diverse weather conditions, from equatorial storms to the scorching heat of the Sahara. Well, they're just a few challenges that we have to face during the exhibition. They say they've travelled over 4,000 Ks in Poland in the Nissan Leaf as a test. Now, they started in Cape Town last week. We're going to follow their journey, by the way. They're going to head towards Europe along Western Africa. That takes in South Africa, Namibia, then Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Gabon, Cameroon, Nigeria, Benin, Burkina Faso, Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Mauritania and Morocco. None of these places exactly have fast chargers every 100 miles. Good luck to them. We'll follow their journey. We'll update you on the podcast. Thank you very much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed it. We'd love to spread the word about the little podcast that we do. So please do share this with at least one person who might be interested. And that person, if you can think of them now, share this immediately. Reminder, all of our podcasts are on iTunes, and as of yesterday, now on the Google Play directory as well if you use Android devices. So iTunes or Google Play for this. You can take a couple of minutes to rate and review if you want to, and that would really help me out with the way that their algorithms work to promote the podcast. If you have an Amazon Echo, we've got a new skill, new briefing. Just search your Alexa app or Amazon Prime app for EV News Daily, and we'll play you the latest news flash briefing through your Alexa device. Say hi on Twitter at EV News Daily. Have a great day, and I'll catch you tomorrow for the first of our weekend updates.